Hey everyone and welcome! Today, we're going to dive deep into a piece of tech that you've almost certainly used today, but probably have never seen. It's this tiny, incredibly powerful little engine that makes some of your favorite gadgets tick. So, what is this Tiny Titan? Let's get into it. Okay, at first glance, yeah, it kind of looks like a tiny electronic spider. It's got 8 little contact points, its legs, and packed inside is a surprisingly powerful memory. But nope, this isn't science fiction, this is a real-deal component that makes our whole digital world spin. So what's the deal with this thing really? What job does it have inside the devices that we use every single day? Well, that's exactly what we're about to unpack. All right, first things first, let's meet the company that actually builds this thing and figure out exactly what it is we're looking at. So this chip is made by a company called XTX Technology. These guys are specialists, you know? They're the architects behind this specific, really essential piece of hardware. And here's the star of the show, the XT26G18D. Now, the slide says it's an 8 gigabit, or 1 gigabyte, SPI NAND Flash memory chip. The most important phrase there is non-volatile. That's just a fancy way of saying it remembers all the data even when you unplug it, so you can think of it like a tiny permanent hard drive. And this type, NAND Flash, is super popular because it hits that perfect balance of cost, capacity, and speed, which makes it ideal for just a ton of different electronics. So how on earth does a chip this small manage to hold so much information? To really get it, we've got to peek inside and look at its internal blueprint. This block diagram is basically the chip's floor plan. The big part in the middle, the NAND Flash memory core, that's the library where all the data lives. The logic at the top is the communications desk, handling all the messages to and from the rest of the device. And see that little box, the ECC codec? Pay attention to that one. It's like the data's personal security guard, and we'll see why it's so critical in just a minute. And the data inside isn't just one big messy pile. No way. As you can see here, it's super organized. The memory is neatly structured into more than 4,000 blocks, and then each of those blocks is divided into 64 pages. It's basically a massive digital filing cabinet, all set up for really quick and easy access. So, we've seen the architecture. Let's translate that into what this chip can actually do. We're talking about its speed, its security, and its overall stamina. The capabilities of this chip really boil down to 3 main things. It's fast, it's secure, and it is built to last. Let's put some actual numbers to those claims. First up, performance. The chip runs at 12 megahertz. For you and me, that just translates to pure speed. It's what lets your smart TV boot up almost instantly, instead of making you stare at a logo for a minute. And when it's really kicking into high gear, it can use a special mode called Quad I/O. Think of it like opening up extra lanes on a highway for data. This lets it move information at a blazing 480 megabits per second. That's absolutely essential when you need to move big files or complex software instructions, and you need to do it fast. Now for stamina. This chip is rated for 60,000 program and erase cycles. That's a huge number. It means you can write data, erase it, and write new data tens of thousands of times before it even starts to show any wear. That's what gives a device its long-term reliability. And remember that ECC thing we saw in the diagram, the security guard? Well, that stands for error correction code, and it's basically an automatic proofreader for your data. Every time information is read, the ECC scans it for tiny errors and just fixes them on the fly. It makes sure your data stays accurate and doesn't get corrupted. Pretty cool, right? So how does it hit that crazy 480 megabits per second speed? This slide's highway analogy explains it perfectly. Your standard mode is like a single-lane road for data. Dual mode opens up a second lane, doubles the speed. But Quad SPI, which this chip has, is a full-blown 4-lane superhighway. It lets 4 times the amount of data flow at the same time. All these technical specs are really impressive, but what does it all mean for you and me? Let's zoom out a bit and see where these Tiny Titans actually live. Right, so where is all this performance absolutely critical? Where do you need a component to be fast, tough, and just totally reliable, day in and day out? Well, turns out, they're everywhere. In your smart TV, this chip is what helps it boot up in a flash. Inside your Wi-Fi router, it securely stores the software that keeps you online. You'll also find it in digital cameras, countless Internet of Things gadgets, and even in heavy-duty industrial systems where failure just isn't an option. And that's the key thing to remember.
We always see this sleek, finished product, right? But its performance, its speed, its reliability, it's all built on the quality of these hidden, hardworking little components inside. So finally, how does a chip like this actually make the journey from a factory floor all the way into a brand new product you can buy? Let's trace its path through the electronics supply chain.
The journey is actually a really cool collaboration. It all starts at XTX Technology, where the chip is made. From there, it goes to distributors, who are a supercritical link in this chain. And then, finally, the engineers and product designers get their hands on it and integrate it into the circuit board of a new device. And companies like eBetter Company Limited play a huge role here. They're like the matchmakers. They bridge the gap, making these specialized components from a manufacturer like XTX available to the thousands of different companies, big and small, that are out there designing the next cool piece of tech. And that really brings us to the main takeaway. Behind the fancy screens and the polished plastic, it's these tiny, highly specialized components that are the true unsung heroes of our digital lives, just quietly and reliably getting the job done. So the next time your router connects instantly, or your TV springs to life in just a couple of seconds, maybe you'll give a little nod to the Tiny Titan inside, that 8-legged memory chip working tirelessly just to make it all happen.